Welcome to the Startup Grind.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
There we go. Michelle, as more startup grinds, the way we start is to try and get an idea, an overview of you as an entrepreneur and as a business person and as a journalist in this case, and to find out a bit more about how you got involved with where you are today as well. So start right from the beginning, where were you born?
Okay, so before I answer that, thank you guys for paying to come and watch me talk. So that's very interesting, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad you think I have something of value to give you, so thank you so much. In terms of, I was born in Nigeria,
Okay.
and so it's a very funny question. Whenever someone says, where were you born? I look at them and go, why do you want to know? So, it's like, what do you mean? But yeah, I was born in Nigeria.
Okay. And you're in Cape Town now. How did you get here? Do you travel back and forth a lot?
Oh, that's a long story. So my dad's an academic, and we moved from Nigeria to various parts of the world while I was younger, and eventually we settled in South Africa, and I lived on the east coast of South Africa for a long time before moving to Cape Town. I moved to Cape Town 4 years ago. I was going to stay for a year and then move back to New York. It's 4 years later. I haven't left, so it's very, very exciting. I love this city. There's just something about it.
And you say you lived in New York. How long did you stay there for?
Not terribly long. It was just, I was up and down all the time there. So I think the longest period was about 9 months. So cumulatively, maybe about 2.5 years.
Okay. So basically, if I sum it up correctly, you love Cape Town more than New York.
I see all my New Yorker friends saying, girl, what you talking about? I love what Cape Town does to me. So I love small towns because I grew up mostly in small towns. But I do like big city experiences as well. And Cape Town is a small town masquerading as a big city, and I love that. So that's why I do love the city. And who wouldn't want to live here? You wake up to a mountain out in the ocean. Seriously, and I can get summer and winter in one day, and I love that kind of day. So I'm probably the only person who does.
Yeah, I was just about to say summer and winter in one day.
Probably the only person who's interested.
So you like the change, the differences.
I know, right? I can get out in the morning with my trench coat, and the next thing you know, it's like summer dress, and the next night I was back with the trench coat because it's raining again. So I'm weird like that.
Okay, and that's how you're working for Memeburn now. But before this, you were a lecturer.
Yes,
how
I
was
was
this lecturing story?
But I was a lecturer at the University of KwaZulu-Natal and at the University of Technology, where
Did the KwaZulu-Natal become KwaZulu-Natal University?
Well, it was actually when I enrolled there, it was the University of Natal, and then it merged with Durban Westall and became the University of KwaZulu-Natal.
Okay.
So to the dismay of many universities, we were like, what? We want University of Natal.
Yes.
But now I love the UK as an acronym. It's okay, I can live with it, But yeah, I finished my honors there, and they needed someone to teach the blogging thing. And I was super interested in this
weird blogging
thing. What is the blogging thing you're talking about? But I was super interested in the blogging space, and I had a blog then. So they said to me, do you want to teach it? Like, I get money, talk about what I love. Of course I want to teach this. No one told me it was going to be hard work. I had to prepare like courses, and the guys in my iXperience will know, we're coming up with a curriculum with stuff. So that was a very interesting experience, and then that escalated when I was busy with my master's. I got offered a job at DET to do media and public relations and some tech writing. So that was really cool. It was a great experience.
And did you study journalism?
I did. I studied journalism. I studied a lot of things actually at university. I studied media, Greek, sociology, and bits of microbiology and the wee bit of computer science and
Wow, it's a real
health.
kick.
Yeah, you know why people tend to get a BA when you go to university? Because it's like you can do whatever you want for 3 years and then eventually decide what you want. So I spent about 3 years trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I decided I was going to be a filmmaker, and I spent a year studying filmmaking, and then decided, oh, maybe I should just go back to journalism thing, and then did a master's in journalism.
And are you currently doing your PhD?
I am. So if I could go back 2 years, I would tell myself, please don't do it. Then I'll go back again and say, okay, I was kidding, just do it.
Just do it.
But I'm doing my PhD in social media and journalism because I really enjoy that space. And it's something, my master's was in blogging and journalism, and that was the time at the height of blogging in South Africa. And then as soon as I graduated, my thesis became obsolete. So I thought, what? No way. I have to bring myself back to relevance. So as soon as I'm done with my PhD, it will be obsolete, but and I just have to find something else to do. So.
Okay, so while you're doing your PhD, how do you balance acquiring the right skills and also investing your time in startups and in different day-to-day business?
Sure. So it's so funny, like every time someone asks me, how do you balance? And I look at this and I'm like, balance? What is this balance thing you speak of? I just wake up and keep going until I drop, pretty much. That's the day. But in the last 18 months, I've actually learned that you need to be very structured in how you do some things in order to get anything done. So with startups, I love the startup space in Africa. It's a huge passion of mine, and I love startups. Sometimes not so much, other times very, very much. But it's just a case of prioritizing different things. So my calendar is very blocked out in terms of what needs to happen. So there are times where I don't take any phone calls because I need to focus on very specific things. And there are times when it's just open to talk to anyone who approaches for whatever. But definitely having blocks of my day for certain things.
So did you just cut everybody out?
Yeah, I do. I literally take my laptop and I book out our boardroom for about 4 hours at a go. And I put on headphones and blast on the music. And as soon as people see that, they know you can't approach this time, deadline. And also, we're media, the deadline's all the time. So you have to make sure you do have time.
Actually get the work out there.
Definitely. I have to get stories out and I have to network, which is apparently a big thing. Right?
So I thought journalism was really easy. You just write a few lines of interesting.
I know, right? It totally happens. You just stare in front of the computer and go, must write something fantastic. 1, 2, 3, done. Brilliant. Brilliance is created. No, brilliance is not created like that. Brilliance gets created. I don't even know if brilliance ever gets created, to be honest. It's a case. It's a chaotic. There is no beautiful symphony to what we do. It's a chaotic mess of many something. Then the something that shouts the loudest gets bigger, essentially.
Okay, so now talking about getting picked, a lot of these people here today have got businesses or are going to be starting a business. How do you pick the stories that allow them to actually appear in your audience?
So covering startups it's always been, one of our top things to make sure we try to showcase every startup, but that's so difficult because when you think about the amount of, and we didn't just focus on South Africa, we focused on Africa and emerging markets. And when you think about just the amount of startups in this region, it's a heck of a lot. And emails get lost, conversation is just like piles up. For me, the most interesting, persistence is always rewarded, no matter what. If you're persistent, someone will reward it. Whoever doesn't reward persistence is a douchebag.
So in other words, for the next 2 weeks, you can get a lot of emails
However,
from
just because I say be persistent, I don't say be a pest.
Okay. So there's a
persistent
fine balance.
pest. There's a fine line between persistent and pest. Also, so for me, I also feel that if you want to get your story told, make it relevant to me and make it compelling to me. So if a startup comes to me and says, I have a startup, please feature my startup. My first question would be why? Why should I feature your startup over the other startup? So I love reading people, I like to meet people and talk to them and gauge who they are. If I get a great feel for them and their story is really interesting and something I feel that is worth telling, I will tell it. And also, if someone just gives you a pile of cash and you're able to give me that amount, I would totally tell the story. Like $5 gajillion. Let's talk about this right now.
So they're going to show not show you the money, but show that they've got the money.
Tell me that someone's got the money and someone's willing for you to put their name out there, then we're totally on board. But no, definitely, you just got to make your story compelling. It's not actually, the product is really important, but what is the story? What are you going to do with this company?
So I know, and there's a lot of talk around the space at the moment about creating a great story for your brand, brand identity, brand story. What is the common mistakes for formulating a media strategy or a story?
I think a lot of the times people forget what the story is meant to do, purpose of that story, and they focus so much on either the team or the product and tell the story of the team or the story of the product, but not the story of what the product is meant to achieve. I did a piece, I think 2 days ago. Bill and Melinda Gates did a commencement speech at Stanford University, and their idea for innovation is that you need to use optimism. Optimism is very key to being innovative. But also, you have to look at what is your innovation going to do, what problem are you solving. If your innovation widens the gap, the digital divide, is it really worth it? Should you build that thing if it's going to separate people and encourage inequality? And if your innovation brings people together, then let's talk about this. So I feel a lot of the time startups begin by telling me how great they are as individuals and how great the product that they built is, rather than telling me what a great impact they hope it will have and how they're going to work really hard to make sure it does have that impact.
Now, you write obviously for Memeburn, being technical, and startup space and studying social, that is more important for you. But what about a journalist that is all about the money? I don't care what it does about digital part. What would they feature the stories? Would you go to a lot of journalists like that?
All journalists want content. We want the content. So this is something that I think has been almost a mythical lie that's being told around this media space. People think that journalists are going to always diss every story or say no to every story they get. We want that content. If you don't give us stories, we will have nothing to publish. However, because there are a lot of people willing to give us stories, we have the luxury of choice. But we do want that story, and no matter how abrasive a journalist is or how no journalist is money-minded, we don't make enough money, seriously. No, I get paid way too much for something no journalist ever said. So yeah, seriously. But people will cover it. For us, it's all about the angle. If I can't tell your story, I won't write it because I have to try and figure it out. You have to help me tell your story.
If you had a formulator, if you had a getting a PR company to do your stories for you or doing it yourself, what is your feedback on that?
PR. As a journalist, I have this joke, right? Like, I have lots of friends in PR, I love PR people. So all the PR people in respect, I do everything. However, I apologize for the following statement. So PR, freelance journalists are sold out for a really nice pair of shoes or a nice car. So because you get paid a heck of a lot more in PR than you do in journalism. But also, PR is about punting something. It's punting. And for me, I read a press release and all I see is, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Oh my goodness, seriously? And I don't want to look at that, and it annoys me. And unfortunately, globally, and this is not just a South African problem, globally, PR companies are failing to look at what is important. And I think this is something that before you go into PR, they should make you take a journalism course or do a journalism workshop. Because all I care about is the basics of journalism, 5 W's in 1 page. What is it? Why should I care about this thing? Where is it? When is it? How? And if you can tell me all of that in the first paragraph, I'm interested. And you have to give me a great hook. So if you can get PR companies to help you, build that. There are very good ones out there that do a great job. I get some press releases so perfectly written, and I actually hate them like that, and I can't do anything to this. I have to publish it the way it is. Like, Tony, I wanted to rework that, but it's so perfect. So it's really sitting with that PR company and thinking about what is your story, what do you want to do, what do you want them to help you achieve, and making sure that you can hook the journalist in the first couple of paragraphs of that piece. Because I get a lot of emails. I was making a joke with Johnny. I don't know if Johnny's there. Oh, there he is. I said to him that, no one has stalked me more in the last week than he has in trying to get me coming to iXperience. But
I experienced that too.
I appreciated the speediness in terms of response and how accommodating it was with my schedule as well. He believed in what they wanted me to hear, and when I came to hear the story, it was very interesting for me to hear that story. But he found the right mechanisms to get me here. One of them is that I was already speaking here, so well done, Johnny, well done. So, but you have to think about that story. If I edit stuff from the bottom. So if you put all the good stuff at the bottom, it's not going to make it in. And when I get to the top, and it's not nothing, and then like all is gone, all of it is gone. So you gotta hook me in right on. I'm only reading subject lines and first lines of emails. So much to get through.
Okay, how is being in media different to advertising?
How is selling stuff different to giving information?
Simple as that.
That's my question.
Okay.
Anybody? No, that's a bit cheeky of me. I've done really well. I haven't answered any of your questions until then, so I have done really well.
Very good.
But no, advertising really is about selling, but that's changing though in this current advertising market. Advertisers are realizing people don't want to be sold stuff all the time. But media and advertising are beginning to actually merge, and the lines are steadily becoming blurred. So there's a concept that's floating around now, native advertising, where brands want to align themselves with great content that isn't really about the brand. It could be about the brand's industry, but it's got nothing to do with the brand. So they want to align themselves with that content to show their users, all general public, that they are a brand that believe in something, they believe in an industry, they believe in an ecosystem. So, yeah, I think the more we move further up, the world of advertising is going to slowly become more like borderline media again. So definitely. But I mean, I definitely think it's one of the Yeah, I mean, a lot of advertising campaigns I see now, they tell stories. I get lost in an ad campaign. I'm sitting on YouTube just watching them. So great. And I realize then, like, wait. What is this about? Oh my goodness, they're selling me stuff. Okay, I gotta go buy. So they're getting, advertisers are getting very clever. They're making things go. They're producing content, not adverts.
Actually, I was thinking the other day, I was talking to my girlfriend about how they're actually spending more time on creating the story than actually on the medium of advertising.
Yeah.
And because of social media, where it's cheaper, you don't have to pay to go to YouTube. Just making credits, so they can spend more money on actually creating those viral videos.
But and they're not just creating, just interesting content, they're creating experiences, which is really great because there's just so much, when you think about it, if you drive on the highway, how many billboards you see as you get from point A to point B, you don't retain a lot of that information. And are you ever really where you need to buy something when you see an advert for it? No one really is. And advertisers realize they need to get you to love them. So it's actually they're not selling you a product. They're selling you themselves and trying to buy your love of this great story. And the more you love them, the more you think about them when you go out there and get interested in products and all that.
Okay, on the social side, if you could change the world, how would you go about doing it?
I could change the world. Yes. What am I, Superman?
One tiny step at a time. You can do this.
Okay, if I could change the world, I think it would be a bit pompous of me to think I could try and change the world alone. And I think as human beings, we all have the capacity to change the world. My step in attempting to change the world is try to align myself with amazing people and people way better than me, people way more intelligent than me, and I could contribute in some small way to help them make a bigger difference.
Okay, now creating and connecting with the right people is important for a business, like coming to these events and stuff. Is it key for startups as well?
Yeah. Is that a trick question? Yeah.
But in South Africa, is it more about, in focusing on South Africa and being in that space, is it more about what you know or more about who you know? I'm guessing who you know, but...
Is Lee, you still in here? I'm here. Oh, so Lee will tell you the importance of networking as a startup. It's incredibly important to network, but that doesn't mean you should take away focus from what you're actually building. VCs do not respond to cold. I'm sure Andrea would have told you guys last time. They do not respond to random cold emails. if I went to Andrea and said, Andrea, I met the startup, absolutely amazing, I really love their product, and I'm willing to stick our friendship on the line for this product, please give them a meeting. I don't want you to promise them that you just give them a meeting. Chances Andrea will say yes to that meeting than just emailing and looking for a meeting. So it is important to try and meet the right people and get to know the right people. And networking, because no one ever puts a lot of money. It's okay. This is good people, you know. But yeah, it's really important to try and get out there. Also, it's great for feedback. So if I'm building a product, I think it's great because I'm building it, so it must be great, right? You know, freaking A, you know. But talking to people at different events and telling them about my product, they could actually help me make it better. It's like Derek just said, right? Yeah. He just said, you know, it's about how can I help you make your company better. And you find that when you talk to people, not even pitching, just talking about what you're working on, someone can say to you, hey, have you thought of doing this? Or maybe you can do this, or I have like 3 hours free, I can totally go this part of it for you if you want. And I've seen it happen, so. Yep.
Actually, we learned in Cape Marketing, please leave there, she's the back, about the session this morning about actually for social media, how important it is to give instead of wanting, you know, and retweeting people and connecting with the other people in space. I suppose in South Africa you see a lot of that happening.
A lot of giving. Ooh. Tricky, considering you guys are letting me stay in your country. So I have seen, you know, a lot of giving in terms of people are willing to give their time. And again, sorry Leanne, I'm putting you on the spot again. Leanne does some really cool events, and it's a case, and I think Lee mostly working a network for most of like the startup weekend stuff and getting people to come in and help out. So people are willing to give if you ask them. They are willing to give, but they're also really busy people. So you also have to be cognizant of their time. But I have seen a lot of giving, especially in the startup ecosystem.
And education, how important is that? Can you learn on the job, or can you?
I'm getting a PhD, you know that, right? Of course, I think education is incredibly important. I know there's this new thing, like all the kids are talking about drop out of college and you can go start a Facebook. Bullshit. You know?
I'll put it on that one.
I'm calling Zuckerberg on that bullshit, okay? So, look, I really think education is quite important because it teaches you a lot of things. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about someone he just started working with who has been working for 10 years and they're super smart, seriously wicked smart and incredibly good at what they do. But there are times where they're almost incompetent because they don't have what actually a 4-year degree gives you, which is how to think critically. And that's really important. People don't realize how important critical thought is in business. They think it's gunzo, just get in there, just do it and know how to run a business. That's great, but there's critical thinking that is involved in every single decision. That's why, you know, everyone always goes, if you get a degree in philosophy, it's like a bullshit degree to do nothing with. Nonsense. A degree in philosophy is actually one of the most important things I've noticed because you have these big companies that need someone to have critical analytical sense way of thinking, and philosophers, people who have degrees in philosophy, they know how to do that so well, and it's something you learn at university, how to think analytically and how to really look at things and kind of not just look at it from the surface level, cut deeper and deeper into it until
you mean the course material might get outdated, but it's the process.
It's a process. There's a process around it, and a lot of universities think about their courses now more. I think most people start calling them out more, so they are updating what they do. I mean, I was 19 years old when I was offered the job to teach because I was researching all this stuff because I was interested in it, and they thought, well, who better to teach it to the kids than this kid who is kind of poured her entire life into it. And I learned as I taught. And sometimes I taught the students, sometimes they taught me. But the course grew more and more. And now every year they review the course material and they reshape it to what's happening. And they reshape what's happening, you know, in the industry. So yeah.
Okay. Do you think the youth are getting involved enough in the economy?
Ooh, this is an African issue actually. I feel that African youth are not given enough credit. I really do think so. They're not. People call them the selfie generation. Poor kids. People call them the selfie generation. But I do think that, you know, African youth, given the opportunity, they will surprise you. I spent 10 days in LA in May at Intel's ISEF Science Fair competition, There were 29 teams from Africa, 11 of them from South Africa. These were teams between the ages of 15 and 19. Two of my favorite projects from South Africa was a guy who built a tsunami resistance paradigm. Essentially, it's these trenches that he suggested for under the ocean. So when a tsunami is hitting, instead of hitting the shore, it gets absorbed into the ocean floor. Which I sat and I thought, why has no one thought of this? It's so simple. And I think he's 17 years old. There's another girl who built a retina scanner that uses basic webcam or a phone camera, and all you have to do is literally look at it and it will scan your retina, and whatever you need for biometrics will open. I mean, everyone's going crazy about how are we going to make biometrics work in Japan? Africa doesn't have the infrastructure. Yes, it does. The 16-year-old girl just discovered it. Someone take notice. Yeah. So, and things like that. Another girl from Nigeria literally figured out how to use natural gases, turn it into electricity more cost effectively and without damaging the environment. And yes, Shell is sitting in Nigeria flaring gas like it's, a birthday candle or whatever. And it's dangerous to the environment and bad for people causing skin cancer. So I think that if Africa needs to give them the opportunity, they will surprise you. And I do think they are trying to get involved more. It's just, again, the most honest voice sometimes doesn't get heard often.
Do you think that there's enough, the education sectors that create enough entrepreneurs in South Africa?
So this is an interesting question and an interesting debate that I've been having for about 4 years now. Because people always say entrepreneurship cannot be taught. You have to be, you're either entrepreneurial or you're not. And for a good portion of last 4 years, I was on the fence of it cannot be taught, you have to be. But the more I see the interesting thing being done, and Bianca, so Bianca did a course at ECT last year. I don't know if one day, is that why you're okay? Because you're all my friends. So Bianca did a course at ECT last year, which is an entrepreneurship course. And when I met the students, I thought, actually, this is actually really cool. How they've gone about it. They get given, how much is it?
50 rand?
They get given 50 rand to go build a business, and at the end of the day, the things they built. So the Anchors group did this outfit that turned into 20 different outfits. Another group built a solar charger, and from 50 rand, they figured out a way to make 50 rand go further. I mean, obviously there's begging, borrowing, and seeing whatever, but they figured it out.
Yeah.
So I think there's a mix of having the drive, but it's not just an entrepreneurial drive, but just the drive to be better and do better. And if someone is willing to encourage you and show you how, then you can possibly, education is good for us. And you can also learn on the job. A lot of people learn on the job.
Sure.
You should never stop learning, period.
Do you, or at least how can technology help kickstart a startup?
Kickstarter.
Boom.
Kickstarter. Go get crowdfunding and your business is started. That's technology, right? How can technology help kickstart a startup? Alright, so technology is everything. It really is. I mean, I had a meeting with my staff yesterday and we were talking about Memeburn, which is our other side we just launched. And one of the interns said to me, but it's cars. Are we stepping away from technology? And we all looked at her like, well, what? Car companies are tech companies too, So, but for us, it's something we convinced of this, so we forget that not everyone thinks the way we do. But I think everything is technology. Everything is you may be into I don't know, baking cookies or something like that. But then you have to have some form of technology to help you drive it further, be it social media or a website so people can order e-commerce, or I think technology can definitely help boost your startup, if not just for marketing purposes, but also so you can learn more, researching more about the space.
You're part of the World Economic Forum. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So I am a global shaper.
You're a global shaper.
Shaping the globe. So they didn't laugh at that one. So I'm a global shaper, which is part of the World Economic Forum. So World Economic Forum essentially is just a body that sits and pontificates and discusses and tries to solve some world issues. Not everyone loves us, but you can't be loved by everybody all the time. It's like Greenpeace. But what Global Shapers, or what I'm part of the Global Shapers community, is a bunch of people under 30, or is it 40 now? I can't remember. And let's go with 30, right? Let's go with 30. So people under 30 who can make an impact in their community and can find ways to solve existing problems and just come together and find ways to help each other out. So that's what we do. But it's quite an amazing community. The Africa hubs are very excited because of what they do and the projects they get involved in. So we come up with projects and we try to find ways to help the community. A project we're running now is called Memeburn, which is essentially the guys from Thunder Fund here. These guys treat me so much. I love them so much.
Awesome. Big start to my head. Go Thunder Fund.
Yeah, sorry about that. Not Kickstarter, Thunder Fund, guys. So we're running a funding request for the Thunder Fund right now to raise money to plant trees, and we get them. I think this year we're planting trees in Kailicha on a Women's Month, but we get prisoners in the region to come and plant the trees, and they have to take ownership of the tree, and it's a rehabilitation process, not just for the environment, but for inmates as well. And we also get into a project with women, on the back of Bring Back Our Girls in Nigeria. So it's a lot of things like that. We try to get involved in the community, but the bulk of our members are entrepreneurs or people who have very busy lives. It's always interesting to see how we're all willing to steal time from our life to try and do that. I mean, we're not perfect. Sometimes it takes us a month to make one decision, but it's what I love about it is it forces me to think outside of myself a lot. Yeah.
Okay, Nigeria versus South Africa in the startup scene. What are your views?
Asking Nigerians about football, that's such an easy answer. Okay, start. So, people always say I have a Nigerian bias because I do love to tell Nigerian stories. They're just exciting. They're very exciting people. And to be honest, I lived most of my life in South Africa. So when people usually ask me where you're from, I always just go South Africa because that's where I lived most of my life. But when it comes to the startup scene, no two startup scenes are the same, okay? No matter what people tell you, no two startup ecosystems are the same. I spent 10 days in Lagos in February, and usually when I go to Lagos, it's just to see family or attend a conference and I get out. But this time I really wanted to get to know the space and see what was happening there. And what I saw just blew me away. It was just an amazing sense of urgency and excitement and very, very interesting projects and interesting companies. But it was so different from South Africa. So I sat with a guy and I was judging a startup competition there. And I sat with the guy and I said, "Can you tell me about your business model?" So he looked at me and said, "I don't know what that is." I'm like, "No, what is your business model?" Like, "I don't know what that is." And I'm like, "What?"
I'm good with titles.
What am I going to do? This business is going to fail. You know? so he says to me, "Well, let me show you what we do." So he took me through I'm like, "Oh, but that's a great business model." And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's how I make money." That's how I make money. And I thought, but I was sitting there, I was just flummoxed for a good 10 seconds. And then I thought to myself, actually, I have a very, very structured and preconceived idea of what a startup ecosystem needs to be everywhere. And I spend a lot of time in Silicon Valley, so the South African ecosystem tries very hard to mimic the Silicon Valley tech ecosystem. But Nigeria's like, screw that, we're just going to do our own thing. And so is Kenya. But they're all different and they all have this very unique thing. And this is South African ecosystem I just love. I love the sense of community that I see in South African tech ecosystems. I can't really pick one. I think both of them have great things to offer, and I think both of them need to work together. So I'm trying to, for 3 months, I'm going to travel throughout the continent to learn about different ecosystems and see how, as Memeburn, we can connect all of them and get them to build stuff. Because I've seen some really cool ideas that I think can be implemented really well in Nigeria, and some Nigerian ideas I think can be implemented amazingly here if we just have the right partners and the right bridges to connect them.
Johannesburg versus Cape Town.
Johannesburg is an apocalyptic wasteland. Judge Dredd, what have you done? So my family just disowned me because they ordered Johannesburg. But I always do feel that I do like Johannesburg, some parts of it.
It's a different vibe of it.
There's a different vibe up there, definitely. I love that word vibe. South Africans love that word vibe. What's the vibe?
It's all about the vibe.
But I never feel like I can stay in Johannesburg. I feel most people, I am constantly in transit when I'm there. But it does, I look at it, I've seen so many amazing things in that city. Driving through and I saw a billboard that said Chinese Christian Church, Virgins Welcome. I was like, what do we mean by this? You know, like Virgins Welcome. So yeah, no, that's my part of Johannesburg. Love it. No offense to the Joburgers, but whew, popular big wasteland right there.
Okay, we've got some awesome questions coming on around here. So, your top 3 blogs content sites.
Wait, what? Oh, your top 3. Ooh, my top 3 blogs. And well, what kind of content are we talking about?
I guess let's go with startups.
Okay, tech.
Yeah.
I really love the site called Memeburn. It's amazing. I don't know if you guys heard of it. They are
Memeburn.
fucking awesome.
I know that name somewhere.
I'm telling you that site is top notch. So, obviously other than my own, because I do love what we do. I think we've got such an amazing team of writers, and seriously, I take credit for the work that great team does. I'm just the loud one who gets to take credit for their super hard work, and I keep them in chains in the back, you know.
Okay,
they don't say much.
Yeah.
But there's a site in Nigeria I really love called Tech Cabal. They essentially do what we do, but for the Nigerian audience.
Techcabal.com.
Yeah, techcabal.com, with like a cabal, so C-A-B-L-A. So C-A-B-A-L, yeah, Tech Cabal. And they do some really good work. They produce some really good content. So I really go there for their features, which is really cool. Another site I really like. So blog is a hard one because I don't think that, Memeburn is not a blog, it's a news site.
Sure.
So I read a lot of news. I've been reading, in terms of startups, I love reading Venture Beat because I think they have really cool startup content. Yeah, it's really good content for startups on there as well. And, God, this is harder than I thought it would be.
What is it you're blocking? Was it news or?
Memeburn? No, I'm trying to think of.
Oh, the sister company, yeah.
Right? So startup content, very few people cover startup in Africa. There's not a lot of people doing that, and that's something I noticed. There are very little.
Human HDXT.
Oh, that's HDXT. I love Brett. Brett and the guy, don't tell Brett, I have to be reminded about that one. But I do love their stuff. That's right. They have great content on that side, yeah. That's true, right? Cool.
Where does the name Memeburn come from?
Matthew Buckland, the founder of Memeburn, couldn't find a name, and he typed in a whole bunch of things in the browser one day, and Memeburn came up. There's no great story behind it. He just couldn't find a name. Everything he wanted was taken, and Memeburn seemed like a good idea at the time.
And hey, memes, you can play around with
It seemed like a good idea. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Well, here's a good one. How do you find interesting stories to cover in Memeburn?
I stalk a lot of people. So,
but you're getting a lot of content coming to you, and you're going out finding.
Yeah, we try to kind of keep up to that. PR companies will not let you breathe. Seriously, the PR people. Fucking A. Email me 2 seconds later. Did you get my email? Okay, let me check. Yes, I got your email. Are you going to use it? I don't know. I haven't read it. I just, got it. No, but we actually have great relationships with some great PR companies, and they always kind of tip us on what's happening. Because the site is so popular and people love it so much, or we hope so, and then they come to us with their stories. We try to put ourselves out there as well, and we try to be as approachable as possible. So, chasing stories, connecting with the right people to make sure we know what's happening in the industry, and also us thinking about what we want to see in the industry. So I write a lot of, my staff calls it the rant articles, and I rant a lot about the African ecosystem, Africa's PR problem, and Africa's quiet problem, Africa's tech issues, Africa's female issues, so I have serious women in tech issues, women in media representation issues. So we also think about interesting things we want people to talk about. When you think about, journalists and media houses are custodians of conscience. It is our job to gatekeep for the audience. I know it's pompous, right? Pompous people, we're custodians of your conscience. But it is our job it's our job to make sure people are discussing today's issues. But if we had to rely on popular topics to set the agenda, we will all be talking about Justin Bieber because that's what trends on Twitter all the time. So we have to also think about issues that are important so that we think are worth discussing and see if like an article that we feel very strongly about, and people don't want to talk about that, and it's okay. And we kind of play around with it, and people suggest stories to us as well. I mean, I get pitched story ideas all the time, and it's always great to get those.
Where do you draw the line between persistent and where's the line?
Where's the line? Persistent. I love it. Who asked this question? Damn it, I wish I knew who asked it. Okay, so for instance, I think it's important if you're going to approach me with a story, please do me the courtesy of finding out what the site is actually about. So you have to do some research, look at the site, look at what we cover, look at our guidelines for content that's being submitted or people pitching stuff. If you're a startup, fill out our questionnaire and we will get to you. Don't email us every 2 days saying, I filled out my questionnaire last week, why haven't you published about me? Give us the time to get through because there are a lot of people. But what's really important as well is get to know who you're approaching. So if you know I write a lot about innovation in Africa and entrepreneurship and startups, start with that for me. Tell me it is interesting because, and I think you should be interested in because, and then let me go from there. Don't just I got a press release the other day, and it said, "Hi Michelle, find attached." And I tweeted, I'm like, "Hi PR company, find attached." and I don't know this PR company, I don't know this person, but this is how they approach me. And I mean, I love when PR companies also make boo-boos, and I've done it before, so even journalists do like insert name here, and it has, dear insert name here. This is a really great story. Thanks. Special. But it really is worth saying to me, "Hey Michelle, I am this person, and this is a really cool press release. I think you'd be interested because this is what it's focused on." And if your email says find a tab, that means I have to go click that attachment and then open it and then go through and go, okay, no, go yes. But then you've actually wasted 5 minutes of my time that I could have dedicated to something else. And we know 24 hours are never enough.
You're going back to the other pesky guy.
I could have gone on to that other pesky guy or back to pinning stuff on Pinterest. I'm just saying. I could have done that. Hashtag just saying, But it really is about just letting me know why it's really important to me. Because I'm only human and we're all so busy, journalists will tell you this, we wouldn't even give it a thought a day, and it's terrible, but we shouldn't do that. But in today's journalistic landscape, one person does the job of 5 people. And you expect that person to be interested enough in your find attached. And also, what is it people sending stuff as PDFs? What am I going to do to your press release? Like change it and send it to other people? Seriously, it just makes it so hard for me to take the quotes in there. So
you have to refer to the word.
I just send it in a Word document.
Or straight in the email.
Or straight in the email, because all I really want to do is, okay, great, I know what it's about, it's really interesting, I know what I'm going to write, but your quotes are good because it gives it a more conversational element to the story. So I want to use your quotes. But if you're going to make me go copy from a PDF, where it'll come out in a wonky format, and I have to sit there and backspace to death, or get my poor interns to backspace to death. I just sit there like, this is not worth it. This story is just not worth it. So, yeah.
Backspace is a killer, man.
You know what a backspace is?
What is the most creative way a business has grabbed your attention?
Good
question.
Three things have happened to me in my career as a startup journalist that I found super interesting how I was approaching the story. A guy called me up and he said to me, "Hi Michelle, I'm sorry to bug you. I don't know, you're probably super busy, but I have a startup and I was wondering if you had time, we could have coffee and maybe you can give me advice on it." And I was like, "Wait, do you want to start with that? I just want you to talk to me about it." So I was like, okay. So we had coffee and I talked to him about it. I'm like, "This is a great company, I have to write about you. Sit here, we will write now." So that was really interesting. They didn't pitch me a story, they just wanted to talk about it. Another way is, I started getting coffees delivered to me. This has happened to me twice. I started getting
Told his
coffee
friend about it. Okay.
getting delivered to me once, and I didn't know who it was from. And when the last cup of coffee came, it came with a different human being. It wasn't the coffee person. And he said to me, by the way, I have been sending you the copies. I have a startup, and we started for like 5 minutes talking. I'm like, this is really cool. Let's write about it. Let's write about it. You know, so that's been
So
good.
coffee bribery works.
Coffee bribery codes work. Michelle likes skinny lattes, preferably an African blend, Ethiopia or Kenyan.
Hashtag the saying.
Hot chocolates are good too. They are in winter periods. But so that was really cool. And also just I had another startup. They tweeted me and they said to me, hey, we sent you a mail about our company. Please let us know if you're interested. Another one. So then I looked at the email, but the email just told me this amazing story about this product that what they wanted to do, and they hoped I could help. And I thought that's really good. So I don't know, people, yeah, it's just people. If you're just honest and get into when I meet someone and I get a great vibe from them, it's just. I know, right? I'm doing it now too, guys. So when I get that great vibe and that sense from them, it really, really helps. And I find as well when someone's honest about what they do, they're not being pompous about I did this, so I'm totally going to be so cool. It's I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my best at it, and I think it could really work and it could really help. And I've got these great people who are going to help me do it. That makes me think, and I think we could all stand, even especially me, I could totally stand for a down peg or two. So.
Are you guys voting? I see phones voting. I see ones. So throw some questions on there. Still got like another 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Are you a grammar Nazi? Is there a type of fun?
Who found the typo? Gareth. Gareth, put your hand up this instant. There are so many typos sometimes. Let's not even go there. I am actually not a grammar Nazi because I'm very forgiving because I speak really fast, and I hope you guys actually are catching one of the many things I'm saying. I speak very fast, and I equally type really, really fast, and autocorrect is my enemy. So when I'm texting, it's the worst thing. Autocorrect is my enemy. But what I found in terms of being more forgiving about people's typos, and obviously on the site we have to make sure we try our best to make sure there are no typos, and content goes through so many dates, but breaking news is breaking news. So we always go back. That's the beauty of online. You can always go back and fix your errors. But I try not to be a grammar Nazi because it's actually really, really terrible. Grammar Nazis are freaking pompous assholes. Let's just be honest about it. Okay? Do you need to tell me that my tweet had a typo in it? How do you feel? Does your mother know what you're doing? I just feel we don't have to be those people. We really don't. I do think it's worth, people paying more attention to detail in terms of what they do, and something I try to do. And I am also slightly dyslexic, so in my mind, the thought is formed and I see it perfectly, but when it's articulated, unless I give it a second look, it doesn't make sense to anybody else. So, and I forget a lot of words. I always have to go back to input my words because my mind creates everything perfectly. And in my mind's eye, it's perfect. So, and a lot of people have seen it as well. I tweeted something the other day about an article that I'd written about bride price affirmation, and our social media /writer, Lauren Grader, she's possibly one of the most amazing people on the planet. She said to me, Mich, can I just retweet your tweet, which I think is really great. And before I said this, I said to her, 1 second. And she goes, why? It's such a great tweet. I'm like, there is a typo in that tweet. It's just weird. And I read it to her, and she goes, I didn't even notice that. And sometimes people don't, but because she was going to tweet it from Memeburn, I needed to make sure it was perfect before it went out. So, yeah, I try not to be that. I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be that girl.
If you had to get a press release, all in caps, a few lines, bad spelling and grammar and no punctuation.
I'm going to find that person, I'm going to shoot them.
Just checking.
Yeah. They're different things. One was put out there.
Okay. What has been your biggest epic fail and how did you fix it?
My biggest epic fail and how did I fix it? Ooh.
Did you fix it? Did you have an epic fail?
Who's been stalking me? So, think I have failed so many times in my 20-something years of life that to pick one, we would be here all night. I don't know if I am fixing my fails by myself. I have a lot of great people around me all the time who help me. Who just, that's the thing, always surround yourself with people better than you so you can sort it out. One of the kind of thing that something really bad that was the word. I sent an email to our list of contributors once, and no, it wasn't even that one. Jeez, no. I wanted to get an interview. I want to get an interview with what's his name?
With someone important.
It's Brett. Who?
Hang on.
No, not Brett Haggard from Mich. He's a famous South African, but he's also got a. I think I've heard of LastMinute.com. So like he's the founder of Last Minute. What is his last name? I forget. So I sent it was my first week's Memeburn. I sent an email to him, and there was a spelling mistake in it. And it was his name, his last name. It was so bad. I sat there and I thought to myself, just die.
Why is no unsent? Can I recall this message?
Before Gmail decided to put the undo button, guys. Before that, seriously, you know. But it was so bad, and I sat there and I literally just thought to myself, it's okay if I die now. I'll be okay. I think it'll be fair, you know. But he was actually quite great about it, and I apologized profusely.
Well, have you seen the backselling Michelle Atagana?
You know, just go, the way people misspell my name is beautiful. Beautiful.
And about the undo button, if you've got Gmail, a little bit here, if you've got Gmail, go to settings, go to labs, and click on undo and enable it. And you've got an undo button.
You can undo bad emails before they get out there.
Yes, if you do not have undo on Gmail, then get it.
Must get it.
There we go. Okay, I think who's Memeburn's audience apart from entrepreneurs and investors?
Okay, so I think to answer that question, I have to actually tell you what we do, if you don't mind. So Burn Media is the holding company, if it were, for Burn brands. We have Memeburn, VentureBurn, Gearburn, and Memeburn, and
Mich Brian mentioned, so we're almost been training, but there's a lot of talk about Spain for some reason.
what is this talking about Spain? They're not going to be in the World Cup
Slightly
final.
just cute, but it's all good. On another note, I was thinking about getting you to review one of these upgrades, but after your Maxi class.
Is it in capital letters?
Well, I think I need to go back to it.
So maybe think about it and we can
Yeah, probably. It's good to know you're human and what upgrades actually affects you. Not totally human, but. Alright, so a lot of tweeting going on, guys. Thanks for that. It's really appreciated. It kind of helps the course of us making a decision. Thunder Fun. Stick your hand up. There we go. Alright, so I think this one's quite relevant because I think it's a new startup in terms of what you're putting out there from a media point of view, how you're pushing yourselves as a business is really important. So getting that aspect is really, really important. And you can get it wrong so easily as well. So Thunder Fund picked up on the following mention from Mich. Sending out your startup info to the media, know who you're approaching, tell your approach, and be personal in your engagement. You know, so none of this copy-pasting crap and stuff. Make it effective, make it personable, and you'll probably get a decent response as a result. So Thunder Fund, thank you. You are our fish winner.
There we go.
Okay, so
Oh right,
let me just explain that. So I was trying to figure out what to bring today, and we were going through like all the stuff we have in the office, and I saw this iPad, but we weren't sure if it was an iPad mini case or Galaxy Next or Nexus case or Galaxy 8.8. So I brought it out of the pack to look at it, and then I ran into a meeting. When I came back, obviously they had thrown away the box, so I'm so sorry. But it is a Galaxy, it's an iPad mini case. So I do apologize.
but second to that, we also want to give away a t-shirt. Bianca Blom, where are you?
Oh, yeah.
Listen man, your tweets have been pretty incredible as well and pretty efficient and great use of the hashtag and specific mentions and yeah, I think you were kind of leading the way in the tweets tonight, so thank you.
Thank you.
So
I brought the t-shirt. Our whole thing is this idea of built in Africa and the fact that built in Africa is amazing and people need to talk more about Africa. So we pick some words and would like to see people talk more about Africa. So things like Africa rising, smart, inventive, innovative. So.
Promise to do that, thank you. Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, I think this is an awesome.
Oh, we got like 2 more t-shirts.
2 more t-shirts. Okay,
Maybe
so
we
we'll
can-
do a bunch of business controls.
We can do that.
Yeah,
Or I can find the most innovative question that isn't the same generic stuff.
Okay.
Someone can ask a really interesting question.
Really
Something that would flummox me. I wouldn't be able to answer.
Your second last question, describe yourself in 1 sentence.
Who asked the question? Describe yourself in 1 sentence.
That was me.
I think that's a good question.
Oh,
That gets
yeah.
one. That gets a
Can
t-shirt.
you try and answer it?
I did say someone. I'm still searching.
Better,
If I had to describe my actual self in 1 sentence, crazy, stay away from that girl.
Okay, and for the business card draw, you can draw out a card there. There we go.
Wait, is my business card in here? Wait,
No. Just do not pick the.
Innovate property
Oh!
and drink cricket.
There we go.
Awesome.
You get to choose. What would you like? T-shirt or what is this?
He's
the
like,
name?
whatever
What's the
that is.
Stick card 32.
No, it's a charger, it's like a power bank, so you
Oh,
can charge
no,
a
no,
phone,
no,
your
no.
computer, and then have power.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then one more for the t-shirts. Last
Okay,
ones.
so it's a t-shirt, guys.
For the t-shirts.
Player 1 ready, what is
Such a-
What's up, agency? Leah Smith. Yay!
Coming in. There we go. Awesome. Guys, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much to our sponsors as well. iXperience. So what iXperience is all about is they get the guys coming in from overseas but also locally and they create code. Within 6 weeks, where are the iX guys? They're cleaning us up. Okay. Trying to put guys that work really hard. So the guys come in here from overseas. These guys are Stanford University guys. It's unbelievable. They come in here, write code, and they've got a really nice internet speed here and that. And within those 6 weeks, these guys learn how to code. And they send them back off during their break, their holiday breaks. And tomorrow night, they're having an actual event here. Those 6 weeks of hard work, they're going to be debuting the apps that they've together. Okay, so if you guys come here, it will be really worth it to see what the guys have created in those 6 weeks. It will be quite impressive. Pay fast. I don't see pay fast here. Is it that? Okay, they will be here, but anyway. They sponsor food. They've been our loyal sponsor right from the start. So that awesome food you had downstairs in the wine. Just thank Pay Fast for that one. Code like clockwork. These 2 gentlemen at the front door. Brilliant support every time. Thank you. And also they help with the wine. And then Uber. Guys, after this event where you can chat and network, and you can slowly move across to Rick's. That's why we've got it at this event. And go and network further there. But after drinking at Rick's, please catch a taxi home and you can use Uber. It's for first time users only. You download the app from the App Store on whichever phone, iPhone or BlackBerry or Android. You put in your card, your credit card. They've got a cool thing, you just scan your credit card and it comes in. I don't know how they do that. And then you apply the code Startup Grind SA. All one word, all lowercase. Startup Grind SA, and they will give you 200 Rand to get home. That'll take you about 10 to 15 Ks. Okay. So you can get home safely, and it's for first time users, unfortunately only, but it won't take any money off your card. So if your trip is 200 Rands away from where you are, you order your cab, he picks you up, takes you home, and because it's within the 200 Rand limit, you don't pay anything off your card. Okay. The other guys, yeah, that's it. Cool. Yeah. And then thanks to my team as well. Why satisfy and
Ask the third question.
who asked what is the third question?
Does the narwhal bacon at night?
Yes.
Narwhal.
Yes. That is a scientific truth.
Awesome. Michelle, thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. Guys, thank you.